Welcome to Influential Entrepreneurs, bringing you interviews with elite business leaders and experts, sharing tips and strategies for elevating your business to the next level. Here's your host, Mike Saunders.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Influential Entrepreneurs. This is Mike Saunders, the Authority Positioning Coach, and today we have with us Dr. Lise Janelle, who is a heart-centered success coach. Dr. Janelle, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Mike. So nice to be with you here.
Hey, so give us a little bit of your background and then what led you to form your company, which focuses on success coaching, but more importantly, heart-centered success coaching.
Well, in 1988, my father was diagnosed with terminal cancer and given 9 months to live. 3 weeks later, my 21-year-old brother died in a car accident. That was a week after my sister's wedding. And then my 8-year relationship to the man I thought I was going to marry ended. So all of this within a month of each other. And it was like, ouch, 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 ouch. And it was so painful that to survive it, it set me on a quest to understand what does it take to live a great life? What does it take so that when these things happen, because it's not if they're going to happen, it's when they happen, how do you face this so you can recalibrate yourself, and not get stuck in this place that can be, devastating for the rest of your life if you don't know how to get out of it.
Yeah, that's a good observation, and interesting that you were aware enough in the heat of the moment to think that way rather than just to wallow in that pain, because that would be the natural reaction, huh?
Yeah, I guess at core I'm always striving to learn and grow, and that couldn't sit well with me. I just had to keep searching, and I ended up meeting two very important mentors in my life. One is John DeMartini. Dr. John DeMartini is a chiropractor, and what I learned from him was the principle of gratitude. And I also met Dr. Scott Walker, who is the founder of NET, which stands for Neuro-Emotional Technique. And if you watch Grey's Anatomy, you saw Owen in May went to see an NET practitioner. So that's what I use. I found, like with the NET method, I can work with the subconscious mind. And I can find a moment when a belief got stored in the subconscious mind, our physiology, and it's just like a record that just keeps going over and over, and it's stuck, and we're not even conscious of it. And I'm able to find a moment when a story was created, and then by becoming present with it and finding gratitude for the challenges, then we can really free ourselves. Because as human beings, we can live our life either through our mind, our emotions, or our hearts. Yeah. And we only experience happiness in the heart. And the only thing that lives in the heart is love, gratitude, inspiration, and wisdom. So for me, love is not an emotion. Love is our essence. And when we recalibrate, when we recenter, when we reconnect there, we can be empowered. We can have access to inner peace, to fulfillment, to happiness, through a true sense of success. That's where you won't experience true success in your head or your gut, your emotions. You're going to experience true success in the heart. So that's why all the tools I've created, my whole coaching is around helping people have a solid foundation in the heart.
Yeah, that's so important to recognize that. And you've even developed now your method for helping other people called the Heart Freedom Method. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the Heart Freedom Method is a combination of the work that I've done. I've literally, this is not kidding, done this with thousands of people one-on-one. And after doing this for a while, like if you have half a brain, you start recognizing that they are patterns. Yeah. And so I created a method because I wanted to create something that the average person could learn, and they could learn to free themselves so they could unfold their highest potential. And this is one of the common comments I have from my clients, and they say, wow, I don't know what people who don't know this method, how they manage to live a great life. And they say, I can't remember what it was like for me before I learned to do this. It's a very empowering tool that allows you to recalibrate and gain clarity so that you can move forward with your life.
You mentioned about being able to find or locate that time in someone's life where there was maybe an opportunity to show gratitude, and maybe they didn't even realize they had that. And I wonder, when you were mentioning that, it made me think of when people hear that a visualization exercise is really important, because when we can experience something mentally, it's almost in your body the same thing as doing the activity, kind of like when you see on the Olympics, those skiers getting ready to go down the slopes, and they're kind of mentally rehearsing that. So my question is, do you ever have people that you work with that say, I just can't do it, I can't visualize, I can't picture myself, so how are we going to accomplish this? What does your method do to help them overcome that obstacle?
Well, with the method, what we do is actually we access the subconscious mind, and it's totally fascinating. Like, the memory just pops. Like, our subconscious mind is like the hard drive it has of your computer. It has a memory of everything that's ever been done on it. For example, I'll give you an example. The first time I did this work, I was checking myself on, I want to be successful. Well, lo and behold, I was not congruent on being successful. You go, what? That doesn't make sense. Who doesn't want to be successful? So then we find the moment when it happened. So I was 5 years old. And all of a sudden, the memory popped into my consciousness. And I remembered, I was 5 years old. I'm coloring in my coloring book. My little sister is 3.5. And I finished before her because, I'm older and, can color faster at that time, that age. So I'm all done. And I show it to my mother. And my mother says, well done, Lise. You colored between the lines. It's beautiful. Well, my little sister, she couldn't color between the lines. And she ran away crying. Now I'm standing there feeling like, wow, this is not good. When I'm successful, I hurt other people's feelings. I become a source of pain to others. And worse, I end up alone. And I can tell you, this is such a common pattern. Whenever I work with anyone that wants to move forward in life and they know they're not living their full potential, sibling stuff is so often connected. I had another woman, like, she was a world ski cup athlete. She wanted to be in the Olympics. She comes to see me because she had not placed in 2 years. And when I checked her on, I want to win a medal, I want to place on the podium, she was not congruent. So imagine an athlete, an Olympic level athlete, that's not congruent with winning. So it's not conscious. We think we're running the show, but science tells us that up to 90, sometimes even 95% of everything we do has been pre-programmed in our subconscious mind. And for her, it was the same thing. When she was a kid, when she won, her mom would hide her medals because she didn't want her brothers who were not winning medals to feel poorly. Wow. So now as an adult, the Pavlovian bell was ringing, and her teammates, her competitors even, become like siblings. So she was holding herself back.
So she really, there's two observations I think about that scenario. One is, if you were to ask her at the very beginning, do you have a problem with winning? She would, of course, say, no, I want to win. But she didn't realize that. And then secondly, she must have had a tremendous amount of skill and ability to perform at that level, even working against that subconscious thought pattern.
Yes, exactly. You need a lot, but that's what they do is like at the last moment, at that level, 1 second makes a huge difference. So after she saw me, she ended up placing on the podium. Unfortunately, it was the last race of the season, but and I like using this analogy because this experience, not because I only work with Olympic athletes, but this shows how even though you believe 100% that you actually want what you want, often you don't want it.
Yeah. Wow.
Because our subconscious mind is in charge of keeping us alive. So everything is geared towards survival. And if you have associated more danger than safety, more pain than pleasure to something you won't get it.
So how do you respond to someone that, in this person's example, are you opposed to winning? And they would say no, and you say, well, let's check that out. How do you uncover that? Because you can only ask the question so many times, are you serious that you're, good with winning? And they keep saying, yes, yes, yes. So how do you peel those layers back to get down to that, to have them remember something when they were a child? Because I can barely remember what I had for breakfast 3 days ago, much less when I was a child.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like even me with that, analogy, the story when I was coloring in my coloring book is because we are accessing the subconscious mind. So all the work I do is aimed at accessing the subconscious mind. And so I will, if a person is in front of me, I can just use muscle testing. It's easy. Yes or no. If you're congruent with a statement, you're going to be strong. If you're not congruent with a statement, you're going to feel weak. When I have my clients, because I have clients all over the world, this is actually how I ended up creating the Heart Freedom Method, is that I had a client in Madrid in Spain, and I was so frustrated because I knew he was blocked with a subconscious belief, but I couldn't do muscle testing with him.
Yeah.
So that's how I ended up creating the Heart Freedom Method, because what I will do is I will ask a person, scan your body right now when you think of you're ready to be successful. And if the person has no sensation in their body, I go to the next question, which is like, I'm willing to be successful. And they scan their body and go, oh, I feel something. So, okay, so then I'm going to ask them, where's the location, the color, the temperature, the texture. So by becoming present with the sensation, then I can ask them what's the emotion. And then I can ask them and it sounds like right now I'm saying it, and we're talking about it quickly, but if I was doing it with you, I would be asking you this, and you would be amazed of what you remember. It just pops into your consciousness.
And I know I don't want to go too deeply here because we don't have time for it, and it's very technical, but one question that came up when you were mentioning texture and color, I know for me, if you said, what is the color of what you're feeling now, I would say, I have no clue what that even means. So do you explain to people, here's what we're going to be going through, and when I ask this question, think of it like whatever?
Yeah, I find if someone is very fully dedicated and they really want to find the answer, they usually find the answer. So I don't really have, unless a person doesn't want to find the answer, I find that just by becoming present, unless somebody has no self-awareness at all, they don't like feeling, they don't want to feel, they feel threatened by feeling, then, they're not going to feel it. But anyone who really wants to find out why they're being blocked, it can serve. Let's say you're making $100,000 a year, which could be good for some people, but you're really meant to be making $1 million a year. To jump from one quantum to the next, and you're really frustrated because you tried everything, and no matter what you do, you always get stuck at the same level. Then, if you tried everything and you're fully dedicated to your growth, you will find the answer. You will allow yourself to feel it. And if someone is really blocked, then what I would do is I would probably get them to come and see me face to face, or they could fly me to work with them face to face, and then I could unlock that. I've never had anyone who was not able to work with me.
So I would suspect that this type of help would apply to personal, business, different areas, even fitness and things like that. What are some examples of someone that would need business and think, my business is doing just fine, but in reality, there's some uncovered opportunities that can be worked on?
Yes, well, I love working with businesses and entrepreneurs because often by tweaking, I have a client, the business was making $3 million a year, grossing $3 million a year, but both the owners their credit cards were maxed out, their line of credits were maxed out, and they didn't really have any assets. And what I did with them is I just started to tweak with them their, the value of their product. And by tweaking, if you make, a 10% change within yourself, 10% of 3 million is like 300,000.
Yeah.
Like, even with small little changes, we can make huge difference into how much a company is going to be spending, how much they're going to allow themselves to save. It's amazing how so many people, like a common pattern with men especially, is that it's not cool for them to make more money than their father.
Huh.
Unless their father would be really proud of them for doing that, or unless they're really angry with their father, a lot of men will subconsciously hit a threshold where they'll come back down. It's fascinating. I can talk about this for hours and hours and hours, but
I hear that. I hear frequently where people say, oh, well, you've got a fear of success. And I just find that so strange to think about, because most people would want to be more successful than they are. And why would you have a fear of success? So what actually is the literal fear of success? What are they afraid of?
Yeah, well, once I was the keynote speaker at a coaching conference, and I had 300 coaches from all over North America. And at the end, I offered them to line up and come and be checked on, I want to be successful. And I had at least 100 of them lined up, and only one person was congruent with being successful. Huh. So what is the fear? The fear is always something like, I will be left behind, people won't love me anymore, jealousy, I will be alone. And often religious beliefs, like in the Bible somewhere it says, it's harder for a wealthy man to get into heaven than for a camel to get through the eye of the needle. Yeah. I can't tell you how often I have found that one. So all of these beliefs, they all become part of our subconscious, and whatever you heard that really made a mark for you can be the reason why you're holding yourself back.
Yeah. Wow, that's really powerful when you think about and let's wrap up with this question, and then we can ask how people can learn more about your programs and book and all of these. But one thought that I have in mind is there's so many areas of someone's life: physical, mental, emotional, financial, business, spiritual, all those things. Do you find when you work with clients that when they start working on one area and improving that, then it becomes easier to work on another area because they start getting motivated and that momentum has started?
Yes, that's what happens. People go, wow, there's actually a way for me to work through this and get what I want, and it gets people excited. And yeah, that's one of the reasons I wanted to create this, because if you have a goal and you're blocked, so you do this work, you unblock yourself, and now you feel like, wow, I'm ready to create a new goal, and then your blocks will pop up. So you don't have to go crazy. You just create the goals, and then you start in action, and you see where there are things that are sticking, and then you can find what's the subconscious belief that's holding you back, and you can transmute it so you can use that into fuel for your goals and aspirations.
Yeah, excellent. Well, hey, Lise, thank you so much for your time today. It was really great getting to know you and your work. What's the best way that people can reach out, connect with you, maybe schedule a free session to learn more about this for their lives, and maybe even pick up a copy of your book?
So the easiest way is www.drlisejanelle.com. And if you have a hard time spelling my name, you can go to centerforheartliving.com, and you'll have access to my website. You can book a complimentary exploration session there, so we can find out what's blocking you, what's holding you back. And there's also my book, Conversation with the Heart, that you can buy either on Amazon but on my website, but it's faster if you get it on my website.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, and we'll make sure we have those links right in the show notes, and I really appreciate your time coming on today.
Thank you so much, Mike, for having me. It was a pleasure.
You've been listening to Influential Entrepreneurs with Mike Saunders. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.influentialentrepreneursradio.com.